I don't think yours is good. Oh, just kidding.
Hello. And just a warning, if we talk to each other, everybody can hear.
Yes, true. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh, yay. I just was so nervous that virtual people wouldn't be able to hear me because that would be unfortunate.
It's been hard, like when they try and turn the computer so we can see the room. It's hard to hear the room. I think you're muted. Are you talking to me? Or are you muted on purpose?
Sorry, I'm talking to Bailey. I'm gonna mute right now so you don't hear all this background noise.
Okay.
Okay, so you need this one, right?
Alex, you should come to the front with me. Your mom's on her.
So do you need both of these? Or
I was just gonna have like my screen up because it's not a presentation. This is my example and this is a handbook. So I was just gonna talk about it.
Okay, well, let me share these with me.
Can we get it up there?
That's what, yeah, I need to share it with myself.
Oh, if you wanted to share the folder.
Yeah. Yeah. That way I
Welcome,
can-
sorry, I'm setting up still because of the kind of meet up with the last workshop, but this is Ag Skills CDE. If you're in the right spot, there's a few more people in here than I thought would be here. So thanks for coming. And if this is not the workshop you meant to go to, you know. That's cool. So whatever. So I really want the virtual people to hear me. So tell me if not. Yeah, do you want to make sure people aren't in the waiting room? Because that's like my fear. Okay. So I don't have slides or anything. What I wanted to talk about was I have our handbook. I want to know where the handbook is on the website, and I know y'all know where handbooks are, but this is still a pilot event. And then also we have our school's example, and then if Alex feels like sharing her school's examples, then that would be sick too. Or we'll put it all in the Google Drive because I really have no idea what time this workshop's supposed to end, to be completely honest. And then I want to answer your guys' questions. So basically, the Ag Skills CDE, this was a pilot this year. We did a virtual pilot and it was awesome to do that. And this contest is going to be even cooler in person. So basically what it is and what it stemmed from was we in FFA, we were missing a piece for our students to attend. That was a big thing for us and have something to compete in. So this is for students in your life skills programs, have IEPs, and they are able to do this and have it be really flexible for them. So are any of you familiar with Ag Skills at all or not at all? You're coming here to learn about it. Probably both. So basically what it is, class. So you'll have these students in class with you and they choose to develop a skill. And I know what I'm saying seems kind of broad and vague and you're gonna have questions about it, but that's sort of the beauty of the contest. And the purpose of the contest is because these students have such different skill levels that we want it to be flexible and we want it to be broad. So I know it might not make sense, but hopefully it comes together in the end. And then do you wanna show the handbook?
Sure. Oh.
So this is in the Google Drive, and then I want to show you where on the website it is too, because you just have to scroll a little bit farther to find it. But if we go to the purpose, potentially, I think they're still figuring it out, so I'm just going to keep going.
Okay. It's like
But you have the students in your class, you pick a skill, you pick a pathway, and then they develop that skill over time. And what happens later at state convention is you present it in some way. So for example, you might have this student in they choose to develop is planting a planter, or they choose to develop a skill that is more complicated than that or less complicated than that, pinching plants, or all of the growing procedures, or raised beds, and they do it over time. So it's almost like an SAE feeling. It can be in any pathway, and it should happen in class. So SAE is outside of class. And again, I feel like I'm giving all these just broad examples, but it could be outside of class. You know your students and you know what they are asking for. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
With that, so I'm just giving an example. Say, so I have a regular child in classroom, so maybe eating them and then talking about how you know they're done eating or when they need more food, something like that.
Yeah, so basically what we have is we have a cover page and then pages set up to record their work over time. So if they decide to develop a skill, they'll give the plan on how they're going to develop that skill, and they work on it in class throughout the year, that in whatever way is feasible for them and for you. Maybe their case manager, maybe their special education teachers are work too. And then they attend convention, and maybe they have a presentation and they talk about it. Maybe they just show their skills that they did. Maybe they don't attend convention and they send in a photo portfolio. Maybe they send in a video. Maybe they attend convention and are able to go to the session, but they don't present. So does that make sense how there's a lot of different ways to do it? So basically what we provided is like structure to show the development of this skill. And then there is some kind of presentation, but it is really up to you, your student, and then their teachers, their other teachers, to kind of put that together. So, and then I'll answer your question, and then I'll show you an example too, and maybe it's more coming together. Also, let me know if you have no idea what I'm talking about, because I feel like that could be possible too.
Great.
Okay.
I have a question about the plan because their skill levels vary so much. Can you help them write their educational plan?
Absolutely. And so basically with this contest, it's really not something that you're going to put in a student to win at, or they're going to go to other contests. So it's really for those students that are in life skills programs, have IEPs, and they don't necessarily have to be in life skills, but they do have to have the IEP. So we have a case manager signature, an admin signature, your signature, a parent signature, to just say that, yes, this student does qualify for this contest. And it's not for second, third place at state, it's ranking. So this year they got gold ranking. We had 5 students, it was super cool. They got medals and they got it engraved with their name, Ag Skills gold ranking in the year. And that's what they did. So it's really, most of this contest and how it's gonna come together is just more of us knowing about it, more of us understanding it and how it works, and just knowing intent behind it. Does that make sense? Yes, yeah, so that's the goal. And of course that's working with Jason, and that's things that we don't have completely planned yet. But these students would be on stage, they would be recognized, maybe videos would be shown. And if the student isn't able to be on stage, then that's okay too. But really some questions I've run into with this is it's not gonna come to convention. And I just challenge to think, why not? Maybe they could. And we do have to provide those opportunities for students, and that is the law. And they can come, and if they don't want to come because of whatever reason, then that's okay, but there's a lot of ways to get these students to convention. So it's not just providing a contest, but it's providing them the Pullman experience too.
Levels of being able to do are very different. So how do we take into account our IEP updating the does that make sense?
Yes, so we do have a rubric, and that can be found in the handbook. And I'm sorry that it's not shown up here, but I'll show you again where it's at. So the rubric, that's actually kind of a hard question to answer. And I think what's going to come together more is the opportunity to do this in, because again, it is still a pilot and it is still developing and changes will be made, but they're going to succeed at their level. And it's not up to the judges to really decide if they succeeded at that level. It's up to us as advisors to provide this to our students. And the state is providing the opportunity, and it's really going to be sort of an advisor, student, special education teacher thing to really have it be what it should be for them. I don't know if that answers your questions, but do you kind of, yeah, because there is a rubric. Yeah. Yes.
So I just thinking about like, our program or whatever, I kind of feel like this is something that maybe you would develop over time. And I wouldn't necessarily be able to rope a kid in to do it right at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
It's like as spring rolls around, you're talking them into this process. And I know I'm wondering, backtracking skills that you've maybe already learned, or how long does this process have to be? You know what I mean? Like, so in March, you finally get them to commit and say, well, we've been doing this all year long, but we haven't been, I guess, documenting things, or, you know what I mean?
Yes, and that's really where the flexibility comes in. And I know that feels like a non-answer, but I think it really could be a skill that the student did develop over a week, or they developed over a month, or that's the unit that they did, and that's where it comes in. So really what you do is you pick a pathway, and we have a project list of a lot of different projects that it could possibly be. It really could be them putting together a presentation about whatever. Or for my students, they were working in one of our elementary greenhouses, and they did worm bins, and they had been working on that for over a few years. So then they talked about the worm bin work that they did. And they didn't even necessarily document it. They had documentation through photos and then experiences. So the documentation could also look different. But I do, we all are probably thinking of a student in our head, and you know what they can do, and it's different. And that's just sort of, that's why this contest is the way it is. And that's why I think it's cool, is because it's to fit everybody. Does that answer your question? Can we show them the project list? That might help a little bit.
I think you can collaborate with this movie, it'd be great.
Okay.
You get the idea.
Because yeah, I just feel like I know.
National chapter, wherever you do your personal.
Yeah.
You think your personal best, and you decide to do your potential personally, not compared to this other student who's way higher, way lower.
Yeah, and I feel like as ag teachers and as CDE and LDE coaches, we have such a cut and dry thing that we follow, and this is exactly how it is. And there's no room to budge in a lot of things. So I know it's kind of uncomfortable to be a little bit more flexible in a CDE manual, but that is what this is to meet all of those students. Is there other questions? That's what I mainly thought that this would be. It would just be questions, because I know it's a new thing, and I know that it's just a broad and flexible thing, and we are still making changes. Yes. Yes. Sorry, Alex is just like doing everything on the virtual. I'm really working with virtual people.
Can you tell us the projects or some of the projects that you
Do you want me to talk about mine?
this year?
Yes. Yeah.
I can talk about, I had 3 students do this year, and these are students that kind of have varying ability levels. Like, for example, one of my students is very skilled in the shop, and she's really good at working with her hands, but she is reading at like a 5th grade level maybe. And so she decided to do a shop project, and so she built, she shows goats, so she built a stand to like groom her goats and stuff. And then I had another student who is definitely would be a life skills student. Like, she's not graded on if she can actually do schoolwork. She's graded on if she looks like a student, acts like a student, participates like a student. And so she really liked the rabbits that I have in my classroom. So she trained one of the rabbits to walk on a leash and like jump over little jumps. And so hers was mostly about, learning how to handle an animal, learning their behaviors, appropriately handling and caring for an animal. So it's kind of, I really just push their personal interests, because that kind of helped them, if they were interested in it, then even when it was difficult, they could kind of work through it. And then I had another project, a student, he's very interested in boats for whatever reason. So he built a model of some type of Greek warship. I don't know. I learned a lot about Greek warships throughout all this, but we built a boat is what he did. So those are the ones that my students worked on. Do you want to talk about you talked about both.
Yeah, I had 2 students, and they were both in the worm bin project. And I'm not really sure what's projecting, so I apologize for that, but it is in the Google Drive. If you go through that presentation, what you'll see is them explaining that they did worm bins. They had a script, and I'll add that script in too. I think that would be good to explain this. And they had photos. So really the idea of this contest is you're picking an agriculture skill, whatever that might be, developing it over some period of time, and you're presenting the skill. And that's the overview of it.
So you're talking about leadership, right? So yeah, I have like kids really into that, but you studying.
Yes.
Are you allowed to help them?
Yes, yeah, I would say yes. We didn't really set, I think it kind of really depends on your student. Like if they can do it with assistance, then that's fine. I had some students, like the first student I talked about making the goat stand, I didn't really have to help her much because she already had a lot of shop skills and knowledge. There's just a few new tools that I taught her how to use. But with my student with the rabbits, that was a lot more hands-on for me. Like I had to show her how to do a lot of stuff with the rabbit or hold the rabbit while she was doing things because her skill level was just kind of a lot lower. So I think it really just depends on your student. For me personally, I really tried to push them to do things even if they were difficult and help them learn it. So I kind of was a little more hands-on at first and then backed off. But you know, for some students, they're not at that point where they can do that. So.
And it could be a project where you have a product like that, or it could be safety in the wood shop or welding a bead. So it feels like you might need this product, but you don't. It really could be a skill of anything, or making your resume or having a professional conversation. That's sort of the broadness of topics. And then do you want to just go through it a little bit and just kind of see? So really what they did, it was their worm composting. They introduced themselves and they talked about a little bit how it started, the kind of worms they have. And then it's just some different pictures and things like that they did in the worm bins. And they talked about how they did it with the food service and their life skills class. And then these photos were just how they documented it.
They do it as a team.
They did this, they wanted to do this together. So that's just another thing that these students in particular were in this program doing this thing. So I think that's probably a little bit more unique, but you could have two students doing the same thing. And that's been a lot of conversation in Ag Skills too, was maybe for that student, they did want to invite somebody to do it with them. That could be a way to, I don't know if you can explain that better, but do you know what I'm talking about?
Kind of like a.
Yeah, like another student in class that,
Like a buddy.
Yeah.
Like a non-specialist student.
Right.
yeah.
Like a mentor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is it something different when you class?
Not necessarily.
So it could just be like a lesson that we already have on the document.
Mhm.
To me, this is like their SAE project, though, because you're developing a plan.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is kind of just a little bit pared down, I would say, from an SAE project, but it's definitely a lot of the same steps. My students all counted these as their SAE projects as well.
And that is what it is it is adaptable and it is flexible. And I know handbooks aren't usually like that. So it's kind of hard to think about it that way, but that is what it is. And I mean,
It's great that it can be open to so much because our kids.
mhm. So yeah, there is. So this is for students with IEPs, but everyone, I mean, IEPs are so different. That's not a category of student, so.
I don't know if we can pull up I have my kids' examples.
Can you share?
And if you guys want to look at your computers and look at the handbook right now, that's what I wanted to show you. So you would have more questions about it or more understanding of how it's going. But is there other questions? Or any comments saying, I have no idea what you're talking about?
I'm excited. I think whoever.
Oh,
puts
where
together-
are my?
Wasn't that y'all?
So it's a committee. So Alex
Yeah.
Johnson's on the committee, Wayne Ramsey's on the committee, Adam Corum.
You guys are fabulous. This is amazing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And something
why
pretty
they're
cool
not.
from the impact was, so at Washington State Convention, one of the delegate issues, they're making the Evergreen State degree or Evergreen degree. So that's for students with IEPs, that's comparable to a state degree because a lot of students with IEPs aren't getting state degrees. So I thought I literally could cry right now, but yeah, that was cool.
I don't know why it's not. Mine aren't loading.
But
Do
the
you want-
project list, so basically animal systems, I mean, it could be anything from truly raising your livestock animal for fair or cleaning the stalls. or just explaining about animal digestion, or taking photos of the barn every day, things like that. Checking on the barn every day. It could be anything along those lines. And then, yeah, the presentation too, we had slides, but that could be different. Like I said, it could be a video. It could just be sitting and talking about it at state. It could be sending in samples. That's all different too. Yes.
We were just brainstorming what if we have kids that maybe don't want to for full time intervention, come for a day. I don't know who or when it's scheduled.
What email do I share it with?
So that's something we've been talking about, and because we were talking about maybe the front end or the tail end of convention, and also involve parents and involve other, just like we involve other teachers and other community members and other CDEs. This does not have to be any different. So parents could bring students, and also just for legal things within your school, if a student needs a para, then your school is required to send them to convention. So this is going to be some advocacy and different things, because the first time that we talked about this at exec, I got pushback of, well, that student doesn't travel. So that's not the case a lot of times. And I know it seems like, yeah, they have never traveled, or yeah, they don't technically, but yeah, they could. It's just the different effort from different peoples. And it doesn't have to all be on advisors either. It's sourcing out just like we do for other things. Yes.
Come out in the morning, like Friday morning,
Mm-hmm.
and now do the session stuff and go on Friday
Mm-hmm.
night after session, maybe not Saturday, but so at least that's all I want to make sure.
Yeah, and session might be stressful or overwhelming or anything in itself. So of course, if they truly cannot come, yes, we trust you that is the case and they don't want to. So a video submission, or literally this could even be emailed in, like the presentation could be emailed in and that's their presentation, things like that. So of course, if they truly cannot come, yes, of course, they do not have to, and they can still be involved. And then we could hopefully, because what happened was it was live streamed and the Facebook post went out this year. And my students thought that was really, really cool. They loved that graphic and they're getting their medals and they're really excited about it. So I don't know if you can speak to that too.
Yeah, my kids, this impacted them a lot. They just were very happy to be able to participate in FFA. These 3 students in particular really like ag classes in FFA, and they've tried other contests, but it was just not going to be a successful situation for anybody. So they were just thrilled to be able to do something and to enter something in state. And so the fact that they were recognized for it was like huge. Like they were so excited. And so I think just the impact it had on the kids alone, just doing the project, even if they didn't, win the gold medal level or whatever, they were just really thrilled to show off their skills like the other kids can. But this is an example. This is one that my student made, and she made this. I think making the PowerPoint was the hardest thing for her, because she did this all by herself. I gave them kind of a template slideshow, just like, on this slide, put this to make it a little easier. So you can just kind of flip through it if you want. But you can see it's mostly just adding, we talked about our goals that she created, adding pictures, things like that. This was her plans that she drew out. So we took a picture of that and put it in to show that that was a step in the project. And you can just kind of flip through. And these are all just photos that I took while they were working on it.
Definitely the speaking, sorry, Alex.
Yeah, sorry. I think the biggest, most important thing to include on this, the biggest portions of our rubrics is talking about what goals did they set and reflecting on, did they meet their goals and what did they actually learn or achieve during this? I think that's a little bit more important, not even a little bit, a lot more important than like what the actual project is or how much time they spent on it. It's more of, the setting of goals, working towards those goals, and then learning other things from it.
I think we're getting pushed out of here. So please find us if you have more questions and things like that. And the Google Drive is available. And also, so what I said on the CDE LDE website, I know there's the career development events, the leadership development events.
Okay, I
on
don't
the
see any more
side.
questions or
You have to
anything.
scroll all the way down to pilot events. That's where you'll find it. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Alex. And Maya Ani worked on it too. I forgot her. My
Oh
bad.
yeah, Maya did help a lot.
Yes.
Okay. Do I do anything? I don't know what to do. I don't
I
want to.
have no idea what's on
I don't want to close
Oh, yeah, we
anything
have
and
the
then
Zoom.
Yeah, so Zoom.
I was kind of answering questions on there.
I think it's just me and
Yeah,
I was waving at
So now
nobody.
you can exit out of it, and then that's
Thank you for helping us. Oh my gosh. I never
Yeah.
had to